heart and soul that you put into your work, like I know all the members of LIUNA and everyone here does every day, because we love our country and we know it is at stake. Thank you, Tyree. So it is so good to be with so many incredible leaders and elected officials who are here. Governor Whitmer was here earlier, Senator Stabenow. Your next United States Senator, Representative Elisa Slotkin. And I always want to thank Representative Dingell. Where is she? There she is. Stevens, Stadiner, all of you for the work that you do every day. And to all the labor leaders who are here, I thank you all for your extraordinary work. Don't we love Labor Day? We love Labor Day. It's always been that way, right? The way we celebrate Labor Day is we know that hard work is good work. We know that when we organize, when we bring everyone together, it's a joyful moment where we are committed to doing the hard work of lifting up America's families. And I want to thank everyone here for that work and the way you do it every day, including General President Booker of the Laborers, President Fain of UAW, President Prince.
All right, so you can see right now that there's no protection of these lands. I think immigrants are going to receive $150 and $150,000 in like funding for home housing per family or something like that. So you can see right now there's no protection of our lands. So she basically broke out the speech by saying, you know, our country. And you can see in the background who's there to say it's ours. It's, you know, it's white people. Two people standing behind her is a white woman and a white male. So that's where we're at with this. Like, she came to Detroit, Michigan, and she spoke about workers' rights. It's Labor Day, right? So she's talking about workers' rights. There's no leeway with what's going on right now. It says right here, indigenous people have the right to the lands, territories, and resources which they have traditionally owned, occupied, or otherwise used or acquired. Obama signed this in December 16, 2010. So it's effective on the books right now. And she makes a statement like that. That lets me know black people are almost, if they're not almost extinct, they're going that way. Because you're not supposed to say that in Detroit, given that people are supposed to, you know, recognize the fact that they're indigenous. She's not supposed to say "are" in front of the public. She's supposed to come before the public and, you know, talk about, you know, the traditions and values of America. You know what I mean? The traditions and values of the Apache people, the Wabasha people, the Venison people. She's supposed to talk about the traditions and values of the Cherokee people. You know what I mean? Like, she's not even talking about any of that. She busts out the speech saying our great country, it's Labor Day, and so forth and so forth. Like, I didn't even know she was in Detroit. But like, I guess she's here right now. I don't know if she's here right now, but she made this speech. They just uploaded it 2 hours ago. So what can I say, man? Like, it's unfortunate that, you know, we have to go through this, and like, we have sellouts like this person right here. Like, it's unfortunate that we have to go through this type of stuff, man, but I don't know what's going to happen with like black people in the long run, because like, they're not fighting for indigenous rights. I keep seeing people make videos about California didn't give them reparations, and to me, like, Obama gave us reparations in 2010 when he signed that UNDRIP document. People need to be going to their capital, knocking on their representative's door, knocking on their senator's door, and telling them, like, look, Obama signed this in 2010. What's the holdup? What's going on? We don't need another reparations commission. We don't need another reparations study. They gave us our lands back. They promised us protection on the borders. Look, like, what are we waiting on? Do we have to do it ourselves? He signed this in 2010, so it's international law, it's federal law. It doesn't have to be signed on a local level. Look, Chicago made this a city. Chicago made this a city recognition when city proclamation when they gave recognition to it through Rahm Emanuel. Since Rahm Emanuel's left, it's been 2 black mayors in there. So if you know if there's a mayor that comes in after Brandon Johnson and this person is not black, you know it's an issue. All right, so when they say stuff like it's guaranteed in your charter, and they've made this proclamation. They've made this proclamation throughout territories. I think they did it in North Carolina. They did it in Nebraska. Like, they've done it in many places. And, like, you look at what these places are, and you think, like, okay, does Omaha have a black mayor? Does this place have a black mayor? You got to look and see, because it's guaranteed in their charters. So that's a video somebody could make that's viewing this video and think, like, okay, where did they make a proclamation for Moorish American Week? Because, like, if it's Moorish American Week there, they guarantee UNDRIP in their charter. And so, like, when you see, like, these people standing behind her and, like, how they have access to, like, speak to her and, you know, talk to her and do stuff like that, like, to me, like, it's a cop-out, man. Because, like, we're not supposed to still be dealing with this squatters issue. These people should be ready to go back to their countries and homes. They shouldn't be wanting to stay here. They talk about, oh, America is a great country, this. Like, no, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that America is a great country. Matter of fact, close the gates on America. You got to have a pen. You got to have a key to get in here. You know what I mean? Like, this border issue, this squatters issue, like, for now on, like, I'm going to call these people colonists. Like, I'm not even going to call them white no more, because they're not even white. You know what I mean? Like, they're colonists. Like, you want to stay in America and say that you've been here since the 1900s, 1800s and stuff like that. Like, to me, that's a cop-out, man. That's a cop-out, because, like, you want to, like, me, like, every time I have a discussion with these people, like, it can be me trying to get a job or something like that, anything. Like, I always bring this document up. I always bring it up. And what I find out is that if a person really thinks they know what they're talking about, they'll make a statement like, it's not on the book anymore because Obama, when he left, the next president had to sign it, or some stupid like that. They'll always say something like that. But they never give recognition to the fact that if you could use it back then, you don't stop using it because the president left. You know what I mean? Like, they'll always make a stupid insertion that just lets me know that they don't know what they're talking about. But, like, I don't deal with colonists, man. I don't deal with these people at all. I don't deal with them. Like, don't call my phone asking me if I want a job making $15 an hour, making $30 an hour. Don't call my phone asking me stupid questions like that. And, like, to me, like, it's hurtful, man, because it's like, I'm 34 right now. I should have at least 8 children right now. You know what I mean? Like, I should have at least 8 children. Like, we should be getting ready for school this year. You know what I mean? Like, that's how messed up, like, America has become. They've put all our issues on the back burner. You know what I mean? Like, they've put out, like, this lady right here, she's picking up their mannerisms. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's unfortunate, man. Like, it's unfortunate. Like, We see this happen every year, in and out and out. They put somebody like no one knew who Kamala Harris was. No one knew who Kamala Harris was like a couple years ago. No one knew. Like, so now she's rose to prominence, and everybody's trying to make her seem important. Like, to me, it's a cop out. Like, I got to keep saying that because, like, it is. Like, since she's been around, like, she hasn't said anything about UNDRIP or indigenous people at all. Like, you don't have to call African Americans if you feel like it's controversial. You just say indigenous. You can call them by their nation. You can say the Apache people. They dark as ever. The Apache people are dark as ever. James Brown is Apache. You know what I mean? So, like, we see this happen year in and year out, where you see some like right now, they've like kicked Ilhan Omar out the party pretty much. Like, there was a moment there where she just wasn't running. I think they elected her back in there. So, like, she hasn't rose to prominence. And, like, she has more of a name than Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? Like let's not sit here and act like Omar doesn't have more prominence than Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying? Like, and, like, even then, like, you still can't say, like, you can trust none of these people. You can't. You know what I mean? Because, like, Ilhan Omar, she went and married a white guy. She married one of the colonists. You know what I mean? So, like, you can't trust any of these people. But it just goes to show you that they're not enforcing this document right here. And Obama signed this in 2010. So I don't want to hear about his Labor Day. We should be talking about labor rights and workers' rights. I don't want to hear about that at all. Like, you got the lieutenant governor. He just walked across the Mechanic Bridge up there in northern Michigan, I think it is. The Mackinac Bridge. The Mackinac Bridge. So, like, they do this in gesture and symbolism, right? To remember what Martin Luther King stood for. And it's like when Martin Luther King was about to leave this earth, he told everybody, like, I think I led black people into a burning house. Like, he felt like it wasn't his duty to, like, you know, make sure that everybody was treated fairly. He felt like, you know, he had given up. You know what I mean? Because, like, imagine, like, during that time, if you got black people mixing with white people and them asking white people for benefits and stuff like that. And, like, he's trying to make sure that black people don't go to them and, like, make sure that they fight for their rights and be just solely, like, think about that. Like, he gave up, man. Like, and he ended up getting murdered as a result of trying to help black people. So, you look at this document, this guarantees everything in it. Like, so, like, when people talking about this and that, and that, like, Obama, he was the best Democrat they ever had. Because, like, he signed this document. No one has ever come after him or before him and talked about this document. No one. You know what I mean? No one. So, like, it's getting to a point where, like, black people are going to have to fend for themselves. Like, we're going to have this document enforced. Like, he signed it. You know what I'm saying? So it should have been enforced when he signed it. But, like, when he signed this document, like, this should have let you know, like, it was time for us to, like, get our stuff and just leave these cities. Like, get away from black people in general. Because, like, black people in general are diseased. Like, wherever you go, that's going, like, you know you in a black community if you walking down the street and somebody just flies by you trying to run from the police, or somebody's just flying by you joyriding and it speed humps on that block. So if it's speed bumps on a block, like, it's children that live there, obviously. But, like, that just lets me know, like, it's time to get away from black people because they're diseased. You know what I mean? Like, they're playing loud music when you walking by. Like, you know what I'm saying? They got rims on the car, speakers in the back of the car. Like, to me, like, you're in a diseased environment. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's time to leave. And like a lot of us should be trying to get back to these country lands where like we have land reserved. Cause like let's face it, if we don't fight for our land rights, cause you never hear about black people talking about land rights. They're always talking about wages and getting paid. They never talking about land rights. You know what I mean? They always talking about how I'm gonna get this next dollar. And you be wondering like why you need $1 for him? Like, oh, they got a drug habit. So that's where we at right now. She probably didn't talk about much in his speech, and I'm going to listen to it because if I find something that I hear in here, I'm going to make another video about it. But like I had to talk about the fact that she was just in Detroit. Like she was just in Detroit, I think last month, a month before that. Like she's been in Detroit a lot. So like I'm going to listen to the speech. I'm going to see what I can pick up out of it. It's going to be kind of hard for me to listen to it because like I don't want to hear about workers' rights. I don't want to hear about fair labor practice. I don't want to hear about fair wages. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear about that stuff, man. Cause like we're heading into another election, and like me, I'm voting all NBA again. As I said this before, I'm voting all NBA from now on. And all of my because like when I die, I want to leave like a track record. When people look at my records, they say, yeah, he voted different during the presidential elections, and like all these other elections, he voted differently. I want them to see like not only was I a basketball player, but I was into sports. You know what I mean? Because like sports players, they don't get their just due. You know what I mean? Like, and like I've had like disagreements with people about this. Like NBA players, like if you look at the NBA right now, and like she doesn't even talk about protecting our sports, because like our sports is like a symbolism of us being able to be free. Like it's our sports is our is our culture. You know what I mean? Like sports is our culture. So like when you see like the entire league just turns into like foreign players or like octoroon players or something like that, that's an issue too. You know what I mean? Because like you got to wonder like where are all the black players at? The dark skinned players, like where are they at? The only player that's been able to make it to prominence is like Anthony Edwards. That's the only player that everybody know about. But like we just see like the old players now. We see like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, but we don't see like the newer players. We don't really see them. So like they've been doing this to us, like where they've been like keeping players out the league, keeping players out the college venues and stuff like that. Like they don't want to see us, like they don't want to see us have joy, man. They don't want to see us be happy. So like I don't want to hear about it's Labor Day and all that, because that's just an excuse for them to push these people up to the front, because they're the only ones that's on the jobs. Like if you see us on a job, we're not in management. You know what I mean? So you can tell right now, like fair labor practice and all that, fair wages, that's for their people. It's not for us. Like when we came to the North, we were looking for like better jobs. Like we came from down south, we were farmers. We didn't know nothing about working at your local Home Depot or something like that. Like we were farmers. Like we knew how to do stuff from scratch. You know what I'm saying? So you see right now, you if you apply for a job at Home Depot and you don't have experience as far as like having a bachelor's or a master's, they putting you at a register. You know what I mean? So it's like, why am I at a register? I'm not good working with people. You know what I'm saying? So like, why am I working at a register? So it's like, you have no opportunity if you are a young black woman or a young black male. Your best bet is to go to the military and get out after them 2 years, so you don't have to go to war. So like if I had children, I would force them to go to the military and do 2 years. You know what I mean? Because it's like the military helped me in a sense that, damn, I can get out and, you know what I'm saying, I can claim disability and I can get all my funds that I was supposed to get while I was in there, yeah, I'll do that. Like, why am I trying to work? Why am I going to college just to get out of college, just to apply for jobs? And like the conditions that you even have to work in are like poor in America. Like the conditions you have to work in. Like I would just rather them like do Peace Corps. You know what I'm saying? Like just to put that under your belt. Cause like if you don't do the military, you're going to be working all your life because you're never going to see a pension. They're never going to let you like, okay, dang, I graduated college. Now I can just go to work for 2 years and I can get paid off a pension after that. That's how it's supposed to be. They're not going to let you do that, though. You're going to have to keep working and working until they just say, well, we're going to stop charging you all bills. And like she talks about none of this in her speeches. Like, what does it look like her talking about indigenous rights on Labor Day? She got to talk about farmers in this speech. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, the lady right here, this dark-skinned lady, all her people were farmers. If you go back a couple decades, all her people were farmers. Like, where's the tradition that where we were farmers? We didn't even protect that we didn't even protect the fact that we were farmers. We didn't protect that, right? Like, if we go back down south and we look at the lands that our great parents had, those lands are probably like they're probably not even there anymore. Like it's probably something on it or something. You know what I mean? Like all of us gonna go back to where we were, and we're gonna see like some of us our lands are still there, some of us our lands are not there. And then if you try to argue the fact like, okay, it's Labor Day, well, you all should pay me annuities for using my land. Like Donald Trump right now, he has a hotel on somebody's next to somebody's river or something like that. And like do you know like you got to use those sewage lines, so you messing up the river? Like they got to clean the river. Like you should be paying whoever that is right there for you using that land. Like he's not paying like every African American should be rich, just based off the fact that you got a Marriott everywhere, you got a Trump Tower everywhere. Like black people should be rich just off that, just annuities. Like you shouldn't see like just one family going without. You know what I mean? Like just given the fact that we all cousins, right? That all black, so it shouldn't be just like, oh, this one black person got something. Like, no, we all cousins. So whatever they receive, and it's going to be a large sum. Like he want to just put his name on that because he's not changing the sewage vows or anything like that. He just want to put his name on there, to brand it. So like he should be paying us a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Because like Trump, that's not like what language is that in America? Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like you brainwashing our people by putting your name on there. Like you should be paying us. So like he's not even doing that. So it's like I know for a fact, like when I look at this stuff, man, like everything is not what it seems. Everything is not what it seems, man. When you look at these millionaires, they're not really millionaires. Like a lot of this stuff that we see, they're just not that. And eventually, like black people are going to get there where they see, like, okay, is one day all young black people are going to be standing behind a politician one day, and it's going to be that way from then out. It's always going to be that way. Like right now, it's not like that. So, you know what I'm saying? Like these people behind her, I guarantee you, they're selfish. They're selfish individuals. Cause like this could have been an opportunity for young people to, meet Kamala Harris. But no, they want to be the ones to be there to meet her. Like, so I know like it's a selfishness going on. It's a racism going on. Like, there's nothing wrong with being selfish or racism. It's just the quality of the person, the people that's behind her. You know what I mean? So it's like this could have been a perfect time for like a high school. Cause like the high schools in Detroit, they're like, it's an opportunity for like young people to meet famous people, because like there's not many high schools in Detroit to begin with. So it's like it's an opportunity for like young people to meet people that's like involved in politics, or like that's involved in like doing whatever they need to do to like whatever they're doing, like whether it be politics, whether it be hip hop, music or something like that, whatever it is. it's an opportunity for young people to meet the person that's there. So like the speech wasn't long. Don't vote for Kamala because she's not protecting indigenous peoples. Not only did they not vote on reparations yesterday in California, the day before that, they didn't do it. So this is an opportunity for indigenous people, black people, to recognize the fact that we already got reparations on the federal level. So all we have to do now is keep bringing this document up and carrying it out. We have to carry this out because Obama signed it. We have to carry it out. When they say stuff like states shall take measures in conjunction with indigenous people to ensure indigenous women and children enjoy the full protection and guarantees against all forms of violence and protections. This means they can practice smoking or like growing their form of medicinal plants. You know what I mean? And this also means that they shouldn't be doing stuff to it. Because like if they do something to it and somebody dies, that's going to come down hard on that person who did that. But like this just lets you know, like, you can homeschool. So it shouldn't be a sheriff kicking in your door telling you you can't homeschool. You know what I mean? So it's like we have to carry this document out. You know what I mean? We have to carry this out. And it's everything's on here guarantees you your full right and your full just and your full everything. So it says right here, indigenous individuals have the right not to be subjected to any discriminatory conditions of labor and inter alia enjoyment or salary. You shouldn't be getting paid minimum wage. You shouldn't be working at all. This is what this article says. And, you know, I'm going to look at that video and I'm going to see what she's talking about. Because, like, I can pretty much see, like, you know, what exactly is she saying? And you know what? I'm gonna let her play right now. So I'm gonna go back to where she starts speaking. Let's see what she's saying.
And thank you to all of the union members who are here this afternoon. So on Labor Day and every day, we celebrate the dignity of work. The dignity of work. We celebrate unions because unions helped build America, and unions help build America's middle class.
So when you think of black people, we're middle class. We're not in the street starving, saying we need food or anything like that. We get food every day. Like, there's never a day that we go starving without food. It's just if you don't have food, it's probably because you don't budget right. But like, you can go to your local health and human services department, and you can go there and get food stamps. You know what I'm saying? So like, when she says unions, like, you know, confederacies, you have to include Confederates too. You know, you just can't sit there and say unions. Like, why would you leave confederations out? Like, why would you leave confederacies out? I can't pronounce it right.
It is true across our nation, and it is true here in Detroit. Nearly 140 years ago, in this very city, 10,000 people marched in one of our nation's first Labor Day parades. Many held signs that read, "Divided, we can beg. United, we can demand." For generations in Detroit and across our nation, the brothers and sisters of labor have stood together.
There she goes, saying our nation. You know what I mean? So it's like these people in the back, they won't be leaving anytime soon. This is why it's important for indigenous people to get on one accord and start fighting for rights. Because these people are going to start saying, up, I'm 1/4 Apache, up, I'm 1/4 Cherokee, up, I'm 1/4 Comanche. We have to fight together in order to get these people off our land. Because if they don't leave, the politics is always going to sway their way, man. Because like these people, they have input on everything that goes on the federal level, the state level, and the local level.
Righteously demand fair pay, better benefits, and safe working conditions. And let me say, every person in our nation has benefited from that work. Everyone tell people, look, you may not be a union member, you better thank a union member for the 5-day work week.
Now
You better thank a union.
Now her mother doesn't have that expression. She's getting that from people that act like her. Kamala for everybody. She probably wears a shirt that says Detroit versus everybody. These are these people who uses that type of expression when they're talking about, you know, patting the child on his behind or her behind. You know what I mean? Because, like, you know how kids is. They try to defy their parents when they're young. So, like, she's probably using that type of, you know, expression. But you know what I mean? Like, I was working at a job before. I was working at a grocery store, and I found out, like, the guy, he wanted me to sign up for the union because he's like, your pay is going to get higher. We can fight for you to not be laid off. And the catch was that I had to pay them money up front. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm not finna pay you every quarter. You know what I'm saying? Just to be a part of a union. When I told him, like, I got this document right here. You know what? And I end up working and I end up leaving the job because I felt like if I can't wear my Haitian, sweater on the job, like, I'm not going to be here at all. Because, like, I don't want to wear your colors, and the colors that you're wearing is Haitian colors. Like, I can't wear my Haiti sweater on the job. So, like, they had a problem me wearing my Haiti sweater on the job. And I was thinking, like, okay, I'll just quit then. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got to be here. And I kept telling them, like, UNDRIP protects everything that you're already saying. I don't need to be a part of a union. My people were Confederates. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to be a part of a union. So, this.
For sick leave, you better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
It's BS. I don't have to thank a union.
Because what we know is when union wages go up, everybody's wages go up. When union workplaces are safer, every workplace is safer. When unions are strong, America is strong. We know what we're talking about. The labor movement has always understood the power of the collective and the power of unity. The power of unity. And while we are fighting so much nonsense that is about trying to divide our country, trying to pull us apart, look to what the history and the present of labor tells us about the power of the collective and unity. The spirit of that work, as much as the product of that work, is very telling and gives us really good lessons.
There's no unity in unions if your unions look like these people in the back. Because these people, they don't live in your community. They're taking money out of your paycheck just so you can be a part of a union, and they don't look like you? No way, no way. No way, Jose.
About what creates strength. And you know, many of you know my parents met while they were active in the civil rights movement. So when I was young, my parents, I see some young leaders here today. When I was young, my parents would take me to the meetings. I see our young leaders and take me to the marches. I was in a stroller. And from a very young age, I learned that when people stand together, when we join voices, knowing that the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us, when we join those voices, we can drive extraordinary change, which is why I believe in my heart and soul, no one should ever be made to fight alone. We are all in this together. I think that there has been a certain backward-thinking approach over the last several years, which is to suggest, to suggest that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, instead of what we know, the true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. Who you lift up. That's the measure of the strength of a leader. Let's stop with the nonsense. And in this election, we all here know there are two very different visions for our nation. Ours focused on the future, the other focused on, let's just get through the next 64 days. And ours, yes, my dear brother, is focused on the future, and theirs is focused on the past. And we fight for the future. We fight for a future where all people receive dignity and respect.
And so, like, I look at Detroit, and she's not saying anything right now, but I'm looking at Detroit, man. Like, people in Detroit shouldn't be going hard for Democrats. They had Kwame Kilpatrick, the city went to waste. They had John Conyers, the city went to waste. They had Dave Bing, the city went to waste. They've always had Debbie Stabenow, the city went to waste. They shouldn't be talking about democratic values. They shouldn't be talking about Kamala Harris. They're going to vote for her. And if you don't vote for her, you're a moron. They shouldn't be coming with that approach because, like, Detroit has always been a democratic city, and, like, it's always been waste here. You look at the streets, like, they're just not starting to work on the streets as far as, like, building up the roads, making the roads smooth again, making them look new. They're just not starting to do that. The transportation here is poor. When you talk about buses run every hour, so you stuck on a bus stop waiting for the bus to come. Like, you just saw this guy come the other way. Like, there's only one person on one route going back and forth. So it's like the transportation here is poor. Everything here is poor, man. Like, I feel like when you talk about, like, it could be like a better place for, like, families to get reared and raised. It could be, but, like, if I had another pension, like, I wouldn't wait around to see, like, another day here. If I had another income making the money that I make now, I would probably leave already. I would leave. And, like, that's the job of these departments, these organizations, to make sure that there's no one left behind. And, like, again, I don't feel safe or protected when they're talking about labor rights.
An opportunity for not just for some, but for all.
She says for all, right? Opportunity. Well, when you're talking about labor rights, there's just an excuse for these people to say that we've been here and we want to stay and we want to work. That's all that is.
What we are fighting
She's appeasing right now.
And so we are 64 days out from the election day. And in Michigan, mail-in absentee voting starts in 24 days.
And everybody who I write in on the absentee ballot is going to be NBA players. Guaranteed. Watch and see what I tell you.
4 days. So this election and our fight is a fight for the promise of America. A promise. I love you back. And ours is a fight for the promise of America, a promise of freedom, of opportunity, and justice, not just for some, but for all. But what we know is as we fight to move our nation forward, Donald Trump intends to pull us back to the past. But we're not going back. We are not going back. We're 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 not going back. So, and we know what that would look like, right? So, intends to pull us back, including back to a time before workers had the freedom to organize. As president, we will always remember Donald Trump blocked overtime benefits from millions of workers. Tyrese talked a bit about this. and opposed efforts to raise the minimum wage. He appointed union busters to the National Labor Relations Board, and he supported so-called right-to-work laws. And
Now you see right here, like I made this statement. I'm gonna fill everything else in when I turn this video off. But you see, this is what I'm gonna write to Kamala Harris. I wrote to her like 20 times before, like she's never responded. I wrote to like Joe Biden, and he's responded. I wrote into Rashida Tlaib, she's responded. So I know like Kamala, she's not that busy where she can't respond to my messages. So I'm going to send this to her. Obama signed UNDRIP in 2010. Why isn't it being carried out and protecting poor black people and poor blacks? Why isn't it being carried out and protect? Why isn't it being carried out to protect poor blacks? So let's see if she responds. I'm going to upload this video and everything. Let's see if she responds.
we have a choice here, right? And we're not going back.
So now she's trying to act like Obama.
I also know that if Donald Trump were reelected, he intends to give tax cuts to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He wants to impose what in effect is a national sales tax on everyday products and basic necessities that will cost, and economists have said this, that will cost a typical American family almost $4,000.
But think, like, who's going to really benefit from Social Security if it's cut? Like, who's really going to lose out as much as they are already losing out? Like, people in Africa don't have Social Security. You see women in their villages 70 years old still farming. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you really shouldn't even be living off Social Security to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should have went to the military when you were young. You know what I mean? That's all I got to say about that.
He wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act and take us back to a time in our country which most of us remember when insurance companies, you remember, had the power to deny people coverage based on a pre-existing condition. Remember that? Deny people, children who had asthma, a survivor of breast cancer, a grandparent with diabetes. Look, America has tried those failed policies before, and they are failed policies. And we are not going back. And we are not going back. We are not going back.
So again, she hasn't said anything thus far, and she keeps talking about failed policy and stuff like that. Like, we're never going to get over the hump if we keep beating up the other person that's running. That's all these politicians do. They keep egging on violence. Like, there's going to be someone who's going to run up on a Trump supporter and get busy because, like, they keep promoting violence. You know what I mean? So it's like, I would be better off served if these politicians were talking about, let's make the environment in America better. Let's shut down all these fast food restaurants that keep burning flesh from these animals and selling it to you, like McDonald's, Burger King, and all these independent brands that you see in Detroit, like these Coney Islands and stuff like that. Let's get to that crux. Because right now, like, we're not getting to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see all these food stores selling packaged sausages and stuff like that so you can barbecue on Labor Day. Like, to me, that's weak, man. Like, not only do we mess up the environment with our habits, man, but, like, we don't leave anything for the next generation.
And instead, we fight for a future where no person has to go broke just because they got sick. And so when I am president, we will continue to strengthen the affordable.
So look, you see the look on her face. She already knows what that's about. But you can see, like, my cousin, he just lost his job, right? So, like, how is she going to protect people who got fired from their job? You know what I'm saying? Like, my cousin works in Detroit. Like, he got fired from his job. You know what I'm saying? So they lay people off all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, when I was growing up, when everybody was talking about, I'm not going to the military because they going to send me to war. My whole thing was this, like, I went to the military on my own thought pattern, my own dime. I went there, I survived, like, I survived through, like, BCT. I didn't go to AIT. I went to BCT, completed it. I didn't go to AIT because, you know, the people in there, I didn't get along with them. They had a problem with the way I talk because, like, I was fresh out of Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I moved to Detroit in 2006, and I think I went to the military in, like, 2009. So, like, I was ready to go back to Chicago, but I didn't know all the violence was going on back in Chicago because I wasn't paying attention to the news. But I was ready to go back. But, like, what hit me, though, really was, like, Detroit was not only becoming a city where it was, like, losing its values and stuff like that, like, it was crumbling. And at the same time, Chicago was too. Like, a lot of businesses were going out of business in Detroit and Chicago during that time, but I thought it was only in Detroit. So, like, Detroit was the same way all through that time. Like, no violent activity, nothing like that. It was just businesses were going out of business. So, like, we weren't dealing with violence. So, she's not talking about anything. Like, she's not talking about anything.
Care Act, we will bring down the cost of prescription drugs, not only for some, but for all Americans.
She's talking about bringing down the cost of prescription drugs. She ignores the fact that people have been losing their lives by taking these prescription drugs because they've been overdosing on them. They only talk about overdose on this other drug that's in the news, fentanyl. But they never talk about the drugs that are overdosed on, like this Adderall and all this other stuff. They never talk about this. So it's like, to me, it's a cop out, man. Like, I don't really see, like, what's the difference in, like, supporting between a Democrat and a Republican. Like, if I were the people, I would vote for Republicans. If I was stuck in their stupid behavior, I would vote for a Republican over her. Because, like, Donald Trump, he don't talk about prescription drugs and all that stuff. He talks about, you know, how the other opponent is making dumb decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like, she coming in here talking about we're going to lower the cost of prescription drugs. Like, why do you want people taking prescription drugs to begin with? It's poor on the environment. So, like, I'm not going to listen to any more of this. You can see she's getting ready to close out, and, like, all she's talking about is the same old rhetoric. Like, it's nothing to get mad about. It's just the fact that she's a part of the class where they are not bent on trying to solve your issues. It's up to you to solve your issues. You don't hear people saying, oh, yeah, this person has mental issues. Maybe he shouldn't be taking, because, like, let's face it, like, people who have mental issues, they don't have support at home. Meaning they have no one to talk to. So, like, when you hear people saying, oh, they just need to take their drugs, that lets me know right there, like, they don't get it yet. You know what I mean? Because, like, this person can easily overdose on them. You know what I'm saying? So, like, people don't get it yet, man. People don't get it yet. Like, I almost overdosed on some pills that I had to take because, like, I got tired of taking them. Like, I was flushed. I was tired of reality. Like, I was just tired of, like, you know, not having money. I needed something better in life. And, like, I ended up taking the whole bottle. And then what I noticed was the milligrams were low. So, like, I could have died as a result of that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, never tell people that they should take drugs. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, what people realize is that when people find out that they've been getting genocided against all this time, where, like, messages have been getting put in their head with technology and stuff like that, like, purposely, there's going to be an uproar in America. Like, people are tired of being taken advantage of. We're going into fall, and a lot of people are going to lose their mind, man. Because, like, when the weather changes and people start to realize, like, there's no more summer, people are going to start losing their minds. That's why I always pay attention to the news, and I look at homicides, and I look at suicides. I look at road rage. I look at all this stuff. Because this lets me know, like, people are losing their minds. This is why I don't go around the public. You know what I mean? So, like, I just look at like all this information on here, man, where it talks about moral, spiritual, mental, physical, a child's health, with the cooperation of indigenous people, economic exploitation. So if you're talking about economic exploitation, and you know that they have me working 8 hours out the day getting paid $10 an hour, that's economic exploitation. And this document is protecting you from that. So you wonder like, okay, well, this indigenous document, like, how is it going to protect me if I want to get paid? Well, it talks about that in here too. It talks about you getting your lands back and you getting paid for the public use of your lands. So it's like once all these corporations close down, all that money that was still being made by them corporations, all that money is going to go to you. And like, if you know what you're doing with the money, you will know that you really don't need it. All you need is your land rights. You need to make sure your waterways are being polluted. A public budget can keep up with that. A private budget can keep up with that. A public budget can keep up with that. A city budget can keep up with keeping your waterways clean. So it's like, are we ready to take back our government? Are we? So think about that. Think about like how we gonna enforce this document right here. Cause she came in Detroit and she's not talking about it, and there's people in her inbox saying that she needs to talk about this in Detroit, and she's not responding to them. That's an issue. All right. So if someone says you need to talk about this and you're running for public office and you want their vote, you need to talk about it. Because if you ignore them, that just lets me know you already know that the election is rigged. You know what I mean? Because I was looking at like, when I was looking at this like before, I think Ben Carson was running or something like that. And I was like, why is Ben Carson not winning? Then I was figuring it out. I was like, okay, they talking about electoral college vote and all that. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, that's not in the Constitution. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking to myself, like, what does it say about voting in the Constitution? You know what I'm saying? Because, like, when people bring up the Constitution, you don't hear about when people say vote. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if it gets to the point where people are talking about voting for people, that lets me know, like, that government has failed. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you're not supposed to vote for people. Like, the Constitution doesn't say vote. Look at the Iroquois Constitution. It doesn't say vote for people. It don't say vote for politicians. It don't say that. So that lets me know, like, you have lost all sense of, like, carrying out government. Like, you're a dead person. You have black status. Like, you don't know what you're talking about now. So it's like, when you see the Iroquois Constitution talks about the descent comes through the mother, and you're supposed to have a cancel for this, and a cancel for that. Like this part of the government is supposed to do this, and this part of the government is supposed to do this. Like, I made a PowerPoint talking about this in my couple last videos. And like, when I notice like people don't carry out what that says, like they don't read the Iroquois Constitution, and they don't understand what's being said in it, that lets me know like they've lost all sense of government. Because whatever part of government that you need is covered already in the Constitution. The Iroquois Constitution don't say vote for United States politicians, and it's an old Constitution, which means you're supposed to follow it. You're supposed to protect the rights in it. You're supposed to protect the construction of that Constitution, which means you don't do it, which means you let me know you've lost all sense. So like, when you think of the Anishinaabe or the Iroquois people, and you think of them being able to speak English as a trade language, and you think like, okay, well, what did they call districts? And you think like, okay, district is not even in that Constitution. Like, okay, so that means like we're not supposed to be in districts. You heck right. We're not supposed to be in districts because it's not in that Constitution. All right. When it says stuff like cancel fire, you have to put your mind in the sense of that, okay, maybe I need to look at some cartoons now. What does the cancel fire mean? And then you see like the people, they rode horses past water streams, then they slept under trees, and then they had teepees, and then they went into caves and dwelled like to meditate and stuff like that. Like that's how we used to live back then. And we need to start living like that to this day. Like we don't start living like that, like you're gonna be voting for the rest of your life. And like people are gonna get tired of keeping up with the lie that we have to vote. Cause like people really think actually that we have to vote. And then when you look at the Constitution for the United States, it don't say anything about really voting. It don't say much about voting in it. You know what I mean? So it's like, why am I voting? Like people don't even pay attention to that. Like when is the last time that CNN did a segment on the Iroquois Constitution and having to vote? Like when it says vote and it says like vote for your council, which means you're supposed to be voting for your council. You're not supposed to be voting in the public for a public institution, which means your vote is not necessarily going to count, and it is going to count, but like you're not going to reap the benefits of you voting for it. Like Kamala Harris is not going to know that you voted for her. You know what I'm saying? You can't shake Kamala Harris's hand. You can't shake her hand. So like people, they're falling for this agenda, man. And it's like, they're going for it. So like why this document is not being enforced and she's not responding to people who sent her messages and stuff like that, like it's going to be an issue going forward. So this is what I'm going to send her. You all stay tuned for the next video. And I am going to go ahead and head out. Again, this will be recorded in compliance with the Federal Act. So stay tuned. Great peace, Yakoki.